Hey guys, what if there's a 24-hour power outage and you don't have a heater or fan? Today, I'll help you solve that problem. Welcome to my channel. I'm looking for a way to warm up during a 24-hour power outage, a gas-free, electricity-free heating system. I'm using a clean, empty tin can with a fairly large diameter. I'll cut off the bottom of this can. Be careful when cutting, making sure to cut along the edges as I'm using something quite rare in this emergency. After creating a flat surface on this metal sheet, I'll create a more circular diameter using a sharp nail as the center. I prefer using string and a pen for the other end and rotating it. I don't have a compass right now. If you have any ideas to help me, please comment. I'll try to do it in the next video. Then, I cut a line inside with a radius of 12 centimeters. The total diameter of the circle is 24 centimeters. I'm cutting a line straight to the center of the circle. Notice that I won't cut past the center. The following steps are also very important for us to have a perfect heater. As you can see, I've finished a cone shape and it's beautiful. I need to secure this cone shape with rivets. I know you have other more effective methods, so please take a look and let me know in the comments. I'm going to cut off the top of this cone to create a 10-centimeter hole. Please clean it by sanding it down. Next, I'm marking to cut a tin can into 8 equal parts and cut them. I've made holes around the edges so I can secure them later. Next, attach the newly cut tin cans to the cone we just created and secure them together, marking the holes accurately. What country are you from? Is it cold where you live? I will secure these two parts together with rivets. It will be secure and compact, easy to carry around. I need a stand for this heater, so I'm adding 3 more support rods around the cone shape. If you have any suggestions, please comment below. I want the most compact and practical design possible. Okay, next I need a stand on the inside. I'll also choose rivets because that's my quickest and easiest method right now. Next, I'm trying to assemble the 2 bottoms of the soda cans I prepared earlier. It's really not easy because the 2 bottoms have the same diameter, but with a few tricks and patience, I still managed to fit them together perfectly. It's airtight, ensuring I can keep warm. Are you excited about this nearly finished heater? Now I'm using a round piece cut from a soda can to create a fairly perfect fan. It's lightweight and easily spins in the wind. I'll attach it to the stand we used to attach the cone earlier. I'll secure it with a small plastic tube to ensure the fan's axis rotates smoothly and stably. I'll use a rivet. Finally, I'll attach a short piece of plastic tube to the outside to prevent the fan from coming loose when spinning strongly. The best result after a day's work. Does it look good? And now comes the most exciting and anticipated moment. To get the device working, I poured about 250 milliliters of alcohol into the alcohol stove I showed in the previous video. You can watch it again on my channel. Our heater is getting warmer. It's working well. So easy, isn't it? With everything I have, I don't need electricity to heat it up, not even gas. I'll use it to heat up and boil this water to make a cup of tea. It's so warm. I'm noticing another problem. Although it's very warm, the high temperature is drying out my skin and making it very uncomfortable, sometimes even causing bleeding. I have a solution. I'll use the tin can I've prepared. I've already drilled a tiny hole in it. Now, I'll use a syringe to draw up the water I'm boiling. I'll inject 6 cc's. You should inject more to make it last longer, but only fill it about 1/3 full. Let's wait and see what happens. Okay. Whoa, steam is coming out of that small hole. It's getting stronger and stronger. And our fan is spinning. The steam is spreading evenly around the heater, keeping our skin from drying out while heating and creating a pleasant humidity around us. Isn't that amazing? Do you like my design? Let me know in the comments. That's fantastic. The temperature is quite high too. It helps me maintain my life in winter without gas or electricity. It's more effective than I expected.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. You know, it is often the items we consider waste that can become our greatest allies in the most demanding situations. Today, I want to share a simple yet incredibly effective project with you. Please do not be so quick to discard those empty tuna cans. With a bit of precision and the right approach, we can transform them into a compact alcohol stove, powerful enough to provide warmth or cook a meal during a camping trip or a harsh winter evening. The first step, and certainly the most vital one for your safety, is a thorough cleaning. You must remove all labels and scrub away every trace of residual oil from the inside. This is a critical detail. If the can is not perfectly clean, the stove will produce unpleasant black smoke and a lingering odor that can ruin your food. Once the can is completely dry, we move to the layout phase. I prefer using a fine-tipped permanent marker to plot the vent holes. These positions are not random. They are the heart of the design, dictating the flame's consistency and the stove's overall fuel efficiency. In any mechanical project, precision is our priority. Rather than using common scissors which can distort the thin metal, I recommend using a small drill or specialized cutting tools for a clean, professional finish. If the holes are too large, the fuel will evaporate far too quickly. If they are too small, there won't be enough oxygen to produce that ideal blue flame. Next, we assemble the two sections. Since these cans are identical in size, I use a pair of pliers to create small, uniform crimps around the rim. This allows the two pieces to slide together for a pressurized, airtight fit. As you can see, the finished stove is remarkably compact. It fits right in the palm of your hand. Regarding fuel, I always prioritize denatured alcohol for its clean and safe burn. To be as precise as possible, I use a syringe to inject exactly 250 milliliters into the body of the stove. A single spark is all it takes. Now, observe closely. The blue flame begins to spread evenly. This is the hallmark of complete combustion. No smoke, no soot, and no odor. To truly test its prowess, I am placing a large pot of water on this tiny device. Despite its modest appearance, it brings the water to a rolling boil in just a few minutes. With a flame this stable, you can easily prepare a hot meal or brew a fresh pot of tea in the middle of the wilderness. This stove is more than just a DIY project. It is a testament to how we can master our environment through simplicity and resourcefulness. I tried turning the stove on and off again. It still works perfectly. You can use this stove for heating, boiling water, or adding a small rack for cooking. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I look forward to reading your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.
I once experienced winter days when the electricity was cut off for hours, even days. The weather was cold, my hands and feet were numb, and all modern appliances were useless at that time. It was in that situation that I realized if I didn't actively create heat, no one else would. And from then on, I began experimenting with simple, easy to make manual heating methods to avoid relying entirely on electricity or expensive fuel. This is a step many people often skip, but it's extremely important. I used a measuring tape placed directly on the tray to measure the actual dimensions. I didn't estimate, but measured the actual width, length, and height of the tray. I measured the width of the tray. I measured the length of the tray. I marked the dimensions directly on the cardboard. This helps the cardboard fit snugly against the tray, preventing it from shifting when the wax is poured in. Then I drew parallel, equally sized compartments. Each compartment corresponded to one use. This method allows for easy heat control. If you need less heat, burn one compartment. If you need more heat, burn 2 or 3 compartments. Avoid burning the entire compartment as this is wasteful. This is a manual energy management method, very effective for survival. Next is candles. I chose candles because they are a stable energy source, easy to maintain, and not dependent on electricity or batteries. In winter, when there's a power outage or fuel like gas becomes scarce, candles are almost the last thing still usable. Now I melt candles using a double boiler, not direct heating. Direct heating easily burns the wax to a crisp, uneven heat, risk of strong ignition unsafe. With a double boiler, the wax melts slowly, cleanly, and stably, maintaining the candle's long burning properties. While waiting for the candle to melt, I prepare sawdust in a tray. Many people ask, why not use firewood for faster burning? Large pieces of firewood burn quickly, are difficult to control, and consume more fuel. Sawdust holds wax very well, burns slowly, doesn't flare up, provides long-lasting heat. This is ideal for long-term heating, not just short-term burning. Once the candle has completely melted, slowly pour the melted wax into the sawdust. Don't pour it all at once. The purpose is allowing the wax to penetrate each layer of sawdust, creating a strong bond. At this point, the sawdust is no longer loose, but a complete fuel block, burns slowly, doesn't melt or spread, retains heat for a long time. With the same amount of candle wax, the heating time increases significantly. After completion, place the tray in the freezer. Freezing helps stabilize the wax, create a solid fuel block, make it easier to break and use, make it safer to transport. This is why I always keep a few trays like this ready before winter. Now, let's start with the most important part of this stove. First, I measure and mark the position on the bottom of the can. After marking, I use a cutting machine to cut a notch off part of the bottom of the can, not completely remove it. The reason is that I still need the rim of the can to maintain the rigidity of the pipe body. If I cut it all off, the can would be very weak and easily warped during assembly. This notch is where hot air continues to flow through. It creates airflow inside the chimney. This is where many people make mistakes. After cutting, I use a file to smooth out the sharp edges. This prevents cuts to the hands during operation. It makes it easier for the cans to fit together and prevents uncontrolled gaps. A bad cut can damage the entire system when heat expands. When joining the cans, I don't position the notched parts in the same direction, but rotate them in opposite directions. When joining the cans, I don't use screws, but rivets. Because rivets are lightweight, no threads required, they won't loosen on vibrations, and they have better heat resistance than small screws. They're quick, secure, and have minimal error. In emergency situations, we need something simple, sturdy, with minimal tool dependence. Rivets meet that requirement. The reason is very important. When hot air rises, if the notches are aligned, the airflow will go straight, too fast, and the heat won't have time to transfer to the pipe before being sucked out. When the notches are opposite, the hot air is forced to change direction constantly, creating a slight vortex inside the pipe. The result is heat is retained longer, the pipe walls heat evenly, heating efficiency increases significantly. Smoke comes out steadily, without jerks. In survival, slow but steady is always better than fast and wasteful. I repurposed an old PU paint can for For the stove body, the reason I chose a PU paint can is because its steel is quite thick, heat resistant, and doesn't deform quickly when burned for a long time. First, I cleaned the outside, keeping the original shape so the stove body would be sturdy enough to last in the long run. Then I placed the tin can containing the combustion chamber on the can, aligning it perfectly with the center, and marked it with a pen. This step is crucial. Any misalignment will cause uneven burning. I didn't cut it all at once, but drilled several small holes around the marked line. This prevents the metal from tearing during cutting, resulting in a cleaner and safer cut. Next, I used a cutting machine to slowly cut along the drilled holes. There's no need to rush. Cutting evenly will prevent the paint can from denting. After opening the door, I used pliers to bend the metal edges inwards. These edges serve as air vents and help guide air into the combustion chamber more effectively. Finally, I placed the combustion chamber inside, aligning it perfectly. Stand it up and then screw it in place. I screwed in each screw one by one, tightening them gently to make the stove body sturdy but not warp the box. Once this part was done, the stove body was complete, very sturdy, very stable, sufficient for long-term use in survival or camping conditions. This is the stove I just finished building in a few minutes. The stove body is made from an old PU paint can, a thick, heat-resistant steel that retains heat well. In survival situations, the less heat loss, the more fuel efficient it is. The fuel I used is a mixture of sawdust and candle wax frozen in the freezer. Sawdust is easy to find, and candles can be repurposed from old ones. Once frozen, this mixture burns slowly, doesn't flare up strongly, and holds a flame for a long time. Exactly what I needed at this moment. I tested the fire outside first. Just a small spark ignited the fuel immediately, creating a neat and stable flame. Then I put it directly into the combustion chamber. Thanks to the front air vent and the sealed stove body, air is drawn to the exact point where it needs to burn. The fire is concentrated deep inside, not scattering outwards, making it very economical. The chimney on top is made of tuna cans stacked in a row. The chimney isn't just for smoke escape. When the smoke is directed upwards, it creates a suction. Conversely, it draws more oxygen into the combustion chamber, helping the flame burn stronger without a fan or electricity. When the stove starts to get hot, I use a wire brush to clean off the remaining PU paint on the outside. This reduces odor and increases safety when the stove has to operate for a long time in winter. Next, I put a pot of water on it and added eggs for a real-world test. After only a short time, the water boiled noticeably. The heat is concentrated, not dispersed, enough for cooking, heating water, and warming hands in cold conditions. Most importantly, the fuel consumption is very low. Just a few pieces of sawdust and wax, but it keeps the flame burning for a long time and evenly. In winter power outages, this is the difference between enduring the cold and surviving. The stove doesn't need electricity or gas. Recycled materials, inexpensive, anyone can make it. It saves costs, utilizes waste, and is environmentally friendly. Safety note: always place the stove in a ventilated area, not use in a closed room, and only operate when the stove has completely cooled down. In survival, it's not always the complicated things that save you. Sometimes it's the things people throw away that keep you alive through the winter.
Welcome to my channel. I'm looking for a way to heat during a 24-hour power outage, a gas-free, electricity-free heating system. First, I'll use a clean, empty tin can. Make sure the can is clean. This will prevent unpleasant odors during heating and ensure clean air. Next, I'll make small holes in the can, as you can see. This will be more efficient and help us save fuel. Pay attention to the spacing of the holes I'm making. It's very important. Then, I'll use an iron rod to bend and create a small iron band. Which country are you watching this video from? Please comment to share your best method with me. I'm using an old pair of jeans. We'll cut them into 2 strips and wrap them around the iron band securely and evenly. Now, I'm going to use an empty can of strong glue. Cut off the lid and carefully follow my instructions. Then, create evenly spaced holes to make a truly effective heater. Okay, let's try assembling it and see how sturdy it is. Be sure to watch carefully. At least, we won't waste materials or time. I'm going to use another soda can. I'll cut off the middle section of it. Look, I've cut it using the same can as before. This will be the core of the heater. My homemade heater is about 50% complete. I used 2 stainless steel clamps to connect the parts. In times of scarcity or emergency, I utilize everything around me. It helps me save money. I hope this inspires and helps you in a critical situation. Remember to comment and let me know if you have a better idea. I'm willing to listen and improve to best suit these harsh conditions. And here is the carbon fiber fabric the size of a tin can that I've prepared. I'm starting to put it inside the tin can we prepared earlier. I've filled the space to the height of the can. To ensure it works well, I'll insert the soda can section inside, then the lid. Are you interested? I've already dreamed about its practicality. Let's see what happens next. Hopefully, it will help me survive a winter day without gas or electricity. I add a moderate amount of denatured alcohol to stimulate combustion, then heat the denatured alcohol I just soaked with the carbon fiber fabric inside the can. Let's observe. You see, the flame burns strongly, spreading evenly from the holes, and is blue, indicating that the alcohol has been completely released. Now I can place a ball over that hole to seal it and prevent the alcohol gas from escaping, so the gas only comes out through the small hole. The machine works very efficiently and generates a lot of heat, burning for a long time. You should do this in a well-ventilated area to remove some unwanted substances during combustion. I was able to warm myself up right after completing this project. It didn't take much time and was very easy to do. Anyone can do it. However, always follow fire safety instructions and remember to leave comments so I can improve in future videos. I will continue to reward myself with a meal after a light workday using this very heater. It's powerful. I want to optimize production costs as well as heating costs, making it as economical as possible. More importantly, through this, I have the opportunity to interact and learn from everyone. I've gained a lot of knowledge from talented and skilled people. Now that the heating is done, I'll boil a cup of warm water for myself, rewarding myself with a relaxing cup of coffee after a long day at work. That's great. It helps me survive the winter without gas or electricity. It's more effective than I expected. How about you?
welcome to my channel. I'm looking for a way to achieve a 24-hour free heating system. No gas, no electricity needed. First, I'll use an empty tin can that I just used up the cleaning solution inside. I'll clean the paint off the outside with paint remover, applying it evenly across the entire surface of the tin can, ensuring it's clean. This will prevent any odors during heating and ensure clean air. Next, I'll drill a 30mm hole using a specialized drill bit and remove the air valve inside the can. Then I'll use a marker to mark the vent holes for the heater. These require meticulous attention to detail and even spacing for optimal efficiency. Which country are you watching this video from? Please comment to share your best method with me. I've finished making the holes with a sharp iron rod. They're all complete and evenly spaced. Now I'll treat the paint on the corrugated iron sheet I cut from the old roof. Heat it to remove the paint, then use a wire brush to scrub it smooth and clean, ensuring it works effectively during heating. I'm doing it very carefully. My homemade heater is about 50% complete. Now I'll bend the steel wires to make a support frame. You can make it to any size you like. I won't specify the dimensions here. Each type of can will fit a different support frame, and your creativity is limitless. In times of scarcity or emergency, I utilize everything around me. I hope this will inspire and save you in a critical situation. Remember to comment and let me know if you have a better idea. I'm ready to listen and improve to best suit these harsh conditions. And here's the carbon fiber fabric I've already soaked in denatured alcohol. I'm starting to put it inside the tin can we prepared earlier. I've filled about 40% of the can space. To make sure it's airtight, I'll seal it with a metal stopper. Let's see what happens next. Hopefully, it will help me sustain myself for a day in winter without gas or electricity. I fix the tube on the stand, then add a moderate amount of denatured alcohol to stimulate combustion. Then heat the denatured alcohol I just soaked with the carbon fiber inside the can. Let's watch. You see, the flame is burning strongly and is blue, indicating that the alcohol has been completely released. Now I can place the sheet metal surface to complete the heater. The machine works very efficiently and produces quite a lot of heat. You should do this in a well-ventilated area to release some unwanted substances during the combustion process. I was able to warm myself up right after completing this project. It didn't take much time and was very easy to do. Anyone can do it. However, please always follow fire safety guidelines, and remember to leave comments so I can improve in future videos. I want to optimize production costs as well as heating costs, making it as economical as possible. Importantly, through this, I get to interact and learn from you all. I've gained a lot of knowledge from skilled and talented people. Now that the heating is done, I'll flip the sheet to boil a cup of warm water for myself, rewarding myself with a cup of coffee after a relaxing day at work. It's amazing. It helps me maintain my life during the winter without gas or electricity. It's more effective than I expected. How about you?
Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make a heater that can actually warm a large room while still being economical, even though it has a radiator and doesn't require electricity or gas. You can use a piece of flexible steel wire. First, I coiled the wire together to create a spring shape with a length of 1.5 meters, making a spring about 45 centimeters long. I cleverly used all the DIY survival tips I've accumulated during difficult times and when fuel was scarce. Okay, I've created a pretty sturdy spring. Comment with your tips on how to make it. Which country are you from? I continued using steel wire to make 2 stands. Although they're not as aesthetically pleasing as the manufacturers, that's what I can do right now. As long as it's practical and effective, I'll always listen to your tips to create products that help me and you connect with the world through my channel. I'll use a piece of cardboard with one layer removed to allow for better fuel absorption, maximizing efficiency on this heater. I took about 40 centimeter long strips of cardboard, 3 strips of 4 centimeters each. I cut these into equal lengths so that we can neatly stack them when using them. This is the core of the heater, so let's cut them evenly. A glass bottle is preferred as a roller to make these cardboard strips pliable. Roll them carefully so that the cardboard can absorb the fuel best, burn longer, and not waste fuel. Do you agree with my method? Comment below with the method you are using. I rolled them together. Then I added cotton pads containing 100% cotton. You can add more according to the ratio of cardboard and the size of the heater. I'm using 4 pieces for a cardboard diameter of about 8 centimeters. I put the cardboard into a clean tin can and adjusted the rolled cardboard slightly to create grooves for the fuel to flow evenly across the surface. Let's continue with this coil of spring. I coiled it to a diameter of about 4.5 centimeters. We'll stack them on top of each other like this to easily fit into the heater. This spring helps the heater radiate heat more effectively and retain heat longer. By fixing these supports together, we get a really unique looking heatsink, right? Are you excited about what I've created? I'll have to fit this 10-centimeter diameter can inside. This is my first time making this type of radiator, and it's not quite to my liking yet. In this emergency, I'm doing everything I can to heat and cook using all my DIY skills. I hope I can inspire everyone. I'll modify this stand to make it more stable and easier to use. Next, regarding the fuel, I'm using denatured alcohol. Let's pour it evenly across the surface of this cardboard. Make sure it's evenly wet and not excessive. The economy, the better. We add a small flame. Okay, it's really effective. This radiator gradually heats up, radiating heat evenly across the stovetop and surrounding area. We can use it immediately, but remember to follow fire safety rules. I also recommend using this stove where there's ventilation, a chimney, and a slightly open window. As you can see, quite a lot of heat is being emitted. So I'll boil a pot of water. Although the water temperature is quite low, our stove has already brought the water to a boil in 4 minutes. After 2 hours of work, I felt hungry, so I'll treat myself to a fried egg to my liking. Our stove works better than expected. Do you have any comments on this product? Please share your opinions with me. I used it to warm myself and tried moving it. It's very light and easy to carry anywhere you want. Even strong winds can't affect our flame. I extinguished it by turning the can upside down to prevent the flames from coming into contact with oxygen, or by covering it with wet towels. Remember the fire safety regulations. As you can see, we heated, boiled, and cooked for about 45 minutes, but the denatured alcohol fuel I added, 250 milliliters, is still there, especially the cardboard core and our cotton pads. Let's check. Finally, I will check what's left inside. I poured the remaining fuel back into the bottle to save it. The disassembly process is very easy. Just pull it straight out. Surprisingly, it's still the same as before, even after a long test. This proves we can use this method and materials many more times. What are your thoughts on my method? Please comment so I can improve it in the next video. Wishing you a warm and inexpensive winter.